Hi, welcome to the Confidence Couch. I'm your host, Julia Dickenson, and in this series I interview amazing women exploring through conversation what it takes to cultivate everyday confidence. So sit back, grab a cuppa, and enjoy connecting with these women the way that I do. Okay, I'm Julia, the host of the Confidence Couch, a place where I want to share stories and ideas that'll hopefully help you with your relationship in cultivating confidence. So thank you for tuning in. And today I have Christine Lynn here with me. Now, I met Christine back in July of 2022, so only 6 months ago. But what I really love about Christine and her story, and what resonated with me, is that we ended up in the same theatre production together. So that was a personal challenge of mine this year, was to audition for a role. So 30 years ago, I used to do theatre, and this year I went, rightio, that's what I'm going to do. That's my personal challenge. Little did I expect to get a role in the production. And it was a lovely little role, and I got to do a lot of backstage and front stage. And in this, I met Christine, and her story and her relationship with confidence. I think she has a lot to offer and a lot to share. And so what I will do now is put it over to Christine. And what I'd love for you to share, Christine, is something about you and a little bit about your journey and what took you from, because I know that where our stories resonated was around having done this and had a passion for theatre, and then we just kind of let it go, and then it came back. So how did confidence play a role in your bit of the story there?
Fantastic. Hi, everybody. I'm very happy to be here today. So a little bit about me and my story. So to try to cut it down to a short version, because there's lots to tell. I was in a marriage for 25 years, and I don't need to go into the details of that, but I was sort of stuck in something, as a lot of us do. We sort of get stuck in somewhere where we know it's actually not great for us. And one day I had the courage to leave, and it took a lot of bravery. And I did that nearly 5 years ago now. And having to start all over again on your own as a 42-year-old woman, back then I was 42, was very daunting. And I, to be honest, had thought that the best of my years were gone, that I had missed out on everything, and this was my life, and I was just going to be an old daggy spinster. And I couldn't have a career, I couldn't be an actress. All the dreams that I had, I wasn't able to do my acting over the 25 years. So it was a passion of mine in my childhood, and then sort of got put on the wayside. I have 3 beautiful children, which I'm so grateful for, and I look at all the positives I had from my marriage, which was wonderful. And I really try to focus on those positives. So after my marriage, I decided that, it's about time I, went back and tried to do all those things and realized that it wasn't too late. So I did an audition for a play called Dr. Lerv and the Syringe of Shame. And just doing the audition was so exciting. So I was so buzzed afterwards, like, oh my God, that was like the best. I don't care if I don't get the role. I just absolutely love that. And I realized that, that's where my passions were. And I hadn't done that for so long. So my soul wasn't being fed with the things that give you that zest for life. As Julia was saying, like, it takes a lot of courage after all those years to put yourself out there to audition. I happened to get one of the lead roles and met an amazing co-star who is now like one of my bestest friends. And it was the best experience for me, getting back on stage and getting that confidence again. I forgot that that's where I had lacked all those years. I had let my confidence slip away, and I forgot to, have faith in myself and trust in me and be able to shine. Because when you have confidence, you shine from the inside out. Like, you can't hide your confidence when you're doing something you're passionate about and believe in yourself. So getting on that stage for me was the very first step, and it certainly changed the course of my life over the last 5 years. Since then, I've done pretty much back-to-back shows, and the last show I met the gorgeous Julia, and she was just and we had a very similar story, you know, from where we had been in our lives, and it was great to have that connection with such a beautiful woman who could understand where I come from. The hard bit for me is I always come across as a confident person. So when I slip into the non-confident times, it's hard because some people perceive me as this, you know, confident person all the time. And that's not the case. Confidence, it really is something you've got to, some people it comes really naturally and they have it all the time. For other people, it's, you know, it's finding that belief in yourself. And when you lose that faith, it's coming back to it. It's like when, you know, how do you feel about that, Julia? Like, you know, when you're getting up on stage, just that until you got that click, like, you know, I watched you grow from, you know, going on like this to like this, you know, there's a difference, and you do grow. And I think once you get that, you can sort of take that in your everyday life and give yourself that reminder that you've got this, you know, you are amazing, you are strong, you know, you are beautiful, you have, you know, you have a right to be here and a right to be successful, and life is not too short. Life can begin any day you choose it to, you know, even if you feel like you've lost your way, you know, you can start again. That's the beauty of life. You get a new day every day. And sometimes it takes those days and you can get into the ups and the downs, and you might be in the down for a little while, but learning how to find your way back up and surrounding yourself with beautiful, positive people and understanding the importance of that belief, I think is really important. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. So much in there. Thank you for sharing that. And I think the thing that stood out to me the most then was around courage. Like, you used the word courage, like it's that first step. It's that moment where you go, okay, so going back to that audition when you were like, I'm just going to do this. Was there a moment of self-doubt, and what was the tool that you used to overcome it?
Most definitely. Self-doubt is our biggest saboteur. Like, we can often talk ourselves out of anything, but the beauty of that is our minds also have the ability to talk us into anything. So, you know, the power of the mind is something that is really important. And when it came to that, yes, I was like, oh, what if I'm not good enough? Or, you know, what if I can't do this anymore? And I'm like, you know what, Christine? You're just going to go for it. And it doesn't matter if you get it or not. Just being here is amazing. And as I said, like, I was so happy that I auditioned and had that courage to get out there and just be, you know, give the best of me. And that's what I did. I allowed myself just to go with it. And I had no expectation. I didn't put pressure on myself and worry, oh, am I not going to get it? It was like, you know what? Wow, Christine, you did this. And I know it sounds silly, but I know a lot of women can relate to this. You know, over the years I have, you know, it's hard for me sometimes to socialize. So just even getting out with a group of people, you know, it's sometimes quite difficult. So basically, like example, the other night I was invited to a trivia night, and it was with women, you know, I knew a couple of them, but didn't know the rest. And it's not, for me, it's easier to actually like stay at home and go, oh no, you know, because I think, oh God, you know, I can't do this and that. But I went back to that audition thing. I'm like, come on, Christine, you can do this. Just go and try. And, you know, if you don't like it, it doesn't matter. You can be polite and you can leave, but you've got to try. If you're just going to stay at home on your own, you're never going to create new experiences and find new joy in your life. So for me, that was major courage to get in the car and get to this place and say hello to people. You know, a theatre's a little bit different because everyone's there for the same thing. When you're going with a group of, you know, you're like, oh, I'm uncomfortable, I feel sick. But sometimes putting yourself in that outer comfort zone, breathing through it and actually making an effort to be a part of that, you surprise yourself with what you're capable of, and you find you can actually enjoy yourself and meet new things and have fun new experiences. So, you know, there's lots of different types of courage, and I think, you know, we've all got to be able to find that courage within ourselves so that we can believe in ourselves more, and it will get easier every time.
Yeah, 100%. It's that doing it and taking the action that creates and cultivates that confidence over time, because you just keep getting more evidence and going, actually, I did it last time and it wasn't that bad. And the other point that you made, which I really loved, Christine, is that, yeah, theatre is different and you kind of are expected to have this confidence, exterior confidence, this, I'm going to go and play a role and be a different person. But when it comes to you, Christine, or me, Julia, we still have this part of us that has a fear of judgment or a fear of not being enough in a situation. And that's everyday stuff that bringing a little bit of confidence along and cultivating it spreads into other areas of your life. So yeah, I really, really loved that. And you said there too, which is about breathing and using the breath, because I know a couple of other people, when I asked them what's their number one confidence tip, they said, breath work. So what's yours? Your number one confidence tip?
Number one confidence kick is definitely starts with breathing.
Yep.
I remember when I was going through, therapy to help me sort of, be able to move on and get out there into the real world and work through, all my lack of confidence and where I'd got to and why I was here and the tools to be able to get through that. And one of the most important things I think I was ever told is, and I it sort of went bang. She said to me, Christine, do you sigh a lot? And, back in my previous life, I'd like to call it, I would always catch myself, all the time. And then when I was in this session, she heard me do it like 3 times. And she goes, Christine, do you realize you don't actually breathe? And your sighing is your body getting your breath. And when you do sigh, you then are able to give me, a bit more of yourself. And she said, I want you to practice, talking and breathing. So I'd have to say a sentence and then do 3 big full breaths into the belly. And just doing it now, like that calmness. And you realize if you do stop your breath, that's when you can go out of control and your mind can race because you're lacking oxygen in your brain. So you can't function properly. And as you said, that's the best tool going on stage is, that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And breath work, if I can highly recommend that to anybody. Breath work is definitely something, to look into. It is a game changer because breathing is what we do every minute of every day. And being able to get your breath right can help you in the rhythm of calmness and actually having the acceptance to relate more to a situation and be calmer about how your response, because sometimes we go into flight response, I've got to get out here or whatever. It's like, just breathe. Yep. It's okay. Okay. So what is it in this situation that's making you feel like this? And then talk yourself through, like actually breathe, talk yourself through, acknowledge the emotion that you're feeling, because emotions are only emotions. They're not ours. They don't belong to us. So if you can actually identify the emotion or the feeling you're having, go, okay, I'm experiencing this. Okay. Yep, I'm experiencing it. Why? Take the breath. Why am I feeling like this? And then have another breath and let it tap in and go, oh, okay, I'm feeling like this because I'm nervous that no one's going to like me or I don't fit in. Well, is that the case? Like, let's look at it, in a new light. No, you're okay. Just breathe, smile, and go with it. It's okay. You're okay. Take that breath again. And it's amazing, just that calmness and the clarity you can receive from breath. So I'm so glad you mentioned that because I am a big advocate on breath work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love it. It's and also combined with that, you mentioned about the conversation in your head as well, because breathing calms the parasympathetic nervous system down, and then you've got this part of your brain that's really clever that can make really good decisions. But when the body's in stress and either wanting to run or freeze, or you almost cut off access to that really smart, intelligent part of our brain that can make a really good decision. So Yeah, it is, breathing. And it's funny because when you mentioned about the sigh, I just saw Yelena from the play Uncle Vanya that you were just in. So, you could, we talked about that before we hit the record button, about the parts of the characters that you identify with and bring into the role, the parts of yourself. So that was funny. Is there a mantra or is there something that is your go-to thing that you say to yourself when you're in a challenging situation? You just shared about their just breathe, which is obviously really powerful, but is there another one that you kind of like, that's Christine's, that's my thing?
That's my thing. Well, mantras are very important. And in some of the work that I've done, and with some of the mentors in my life, the good practice, and when I'm doing it regularly, I'm all good for recommending people to do practice, and often I'll and then realize, hey, I'm telling someone else to do it. I'm like, hey, maybe you should start doing that again too.
Yeah.
Is, when in the mornings, even just in the shower, or just looking in the mirror and looking at yourself and saying, I am amazing. I have courage. I am strong. I have got this. Like, I can do anything. And I choose to be happy. I choose to let the universe show me what is going to give me the best out of my day to day. I choose to listen, and I choose to love myself. And that's a really hard, loving yourself, and to be able to look at the reflection and tell yourself that you love yourself, I think is huge. But, my favorite mantra is, okay, Christine, come on. You're amazing. You've got courage. You've got this. And if I say it over and over again, it's, or you are loved, you love, and you are loved. That is like one of I am love, I am loved, and you are love. Like, just
I like that.
The universe. And it's an amazing practice. I once went on a silent meditation retreat, and it was an amazing experience. But we learnt about, giving love. They called it dristi. And they did a practice where we had to go for a walk, and everyone we walked past, we had to just like give you love, so you didn't have to say any words. You just looked at them, say, sending you love, like so.
Yeah.
And they had no idea, but the feeling you get when you do it. And if you get a smile from someone, it's like, wow. And ever since I was little, I love doing that, like walking past, and, some people smile, some people walk past, and, and then when you get that smile and you transfer and you make that little connection can change not only your day, but the person that you've given that to, because everyone in life is going through something. I work in retail, I've got my shop. And sometimes it's hard because you get energies in, and they might come in and abuse you for any particular reason. And I've learned now that is not something to take personally. We have no idea what is going on in that other person's world. We all carry, our own stories. So I find, that giving that love, that dristi to people and putting that into practice, you get more compassion. And instead of getting built up anger, like, why was that person so rude? I don't deserve that. Oh, it's all about me. It's like, hang on, what is this poor person going through to actually react like that? Because that's not a normal human response. So being able to give that love and then seeing them soften or smile or cry or whatever it is they do, it's a huge breakthrough, and it makes you feel really good. So I do love that.
Yeah. Again, a million bits of gold in that, but the two strong things that came out for me there, Christine, when you were talking, was about choice, was about choosing what's next, choosing confidence, choosing to love yourself, choosing to be happy. Like everybody thinks, oh, you got to go chase happiness. Well, no, choose it.
Yeah.
Just choose it, and the other thing was the compassion. And obviously you've done a lot of work on yourself. And I know when I work with women in coaching and doing that, I am worthy. Like, I'll start at the beginning, and it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm like, okay, say the words. I've had women who couldn't even say it, couldn't say I am worthy.
Mm.
And so seeing that shift, and it's a practice, isn't it?
It's at the end of the day,
yeah, you keep going.
To be honest, there was a long period of my life I couldn't actually look at my reflection. So you're getting really serious here, because it was the hardest thing for me to do. Actually, I hated myself.
Yeah.
And you know, through meeting my co-star in my first play, who's now my best friend and my mentor, he, you know, has taught me to love myself again. And it is a practice, and it was hard, and it was confronting, and it's taken me a long time to be able to look in the mirror and say, well, I love you, you know, you are worthy, you are beautiful, you know. And he was the one that taught me that, you know, every emotion and everything, you're right, it's a choice. They're not a part of us. So we've actually got everything we need in here. We've got all the happiness, all the tools. We don't need to outsource them from anywhere, no matter how many, you know, happy retreats we go on, how many, you know, it's not that, I mean, yes, they help and give us some extra tools, but we actually, once we learn, we have all the tools within us. And we choice. And it was like my son, he was so funny. Like, I remember having a SPAC attack when he was like 5, and my youngest is like, you know, the spiritual child that reflects everything back at you. And I was going, having this mum moment of psycho, you know, and he just like calmly looks at me with his cute little face. Mum, you know, you have a choice with how you're reacting to this. Have a think about what the issue is. I don't think you really need to react like that. Just breathe, is what he said to me.
Oh, my God.
And I just stopped in my psycho track and went, oh, yeah, I did look like a bit of an idiot then, didn't I? I really did not need to go wherever I went with that. And I do, like, so now, and it's taken a while to practice because I had that, you know, for so long. Before I react or my emotions are coming up, I'm like, okay, I'm identifying, I'm getting angry, and I breathe. And that's when I go, okay, are you going to react to this? Are you going to explode and do unnecessary, you know, or are you going to go, okay, yeah, I'm feeling angry, but I might just breathe for a bit before speaking. And it's funny how it can totally change your perspective. And it's such an unnecessary, like, there are so many feelings and emotions we get. It's amazing when you know, hey, I don't have to have you. See ya. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm choosing to not let you affect me. I'm choosing to stay happy. So it is a really good feeling when you get that.
Yeah. And out of the mouths of babes, hey, it's
priceless.
It's so true. Our kids can teach us an awful lot, especially when they're, you know, they actually are more regulated than us.
This generation is so, you know, it's like, wow. Yeah. I love them. I learn so much from my children. You know, it's just, it's fascinating. They do sort of teach you a lot. Yeah.
And I think the theme that's coming through, and in talking to other women as well, it's really, it is practice. It's getting to know yourself. It's actually turning inward. Like you said, it's actually not out there. It's inside. All of the answers, everything you need is actually inside, and that it's working on that and getting to that point and showing up in the mirror every day and looking at yourself and saying, I like who you are. I like what I see. And at first it does. It feels weird. It feels gross. It's like, oh, icky, yuck, ugh. Because we're taught, like, anybody who looks at their reflection in the mirror and says, oh, that's nice, is on themselves, or in some, it's negative. It's negative to love yourself, right? Because we grow up with this conditioning that confident people, they're arrogant. You know, they're mistaken for arrogance. And I think earlier in the conversation when we were talking about there's an internal confidence that the situation might be new, but you're like, I've got I know I can figure it out,
Mm.
right? I don't know. I'm completely out of my depth, but I'm confident in the fact that whatever's inside of me I've got those tools and resources. So yeah, I really liked that. And it takes compassion, right? As you said, it takes compassion for yourself, compassion for others, and really learning to accept and acknowledge it's not all about you. Like the
Mm.
world is not all about you. That we what was that Shakespearean? The world is a stage and we're all players upon it, or something or other.
Yeah.
God, I really balls that one up, but
Close
it's
enough.
all right. It's all right. I'm an amateur thespian, not a professional.
If you believe it, it will be true.
That's it. But yeah, like we've all got a part to play and help and support each other. And I did just want to take this opportunity for you to share, because you mentioned you're in retail and you have a shop. I do want to do like a little quick plug for that, because I think what you're doing there is really amazing.
Aw. Thank you, Julia. Yes, well, I have a beautiful shop called White Tigress & Co. It's located in Fulham. And I'm just going to wait till this lovely plane goes away from me because it sounds very loud. Watch him go away. So during the first lockdown of COVID, when we were first hit with this unknown, media-driven craze of the world is ending, I got stood down from my job, and I had a great job. I was a regional manager for a big fashion company, and I looked after a lot of stores over the coast. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a single mum with 3 children and a mortgage. What am I going to do if I can't pay my mortgage? I don't have backup. I don't have a partner that's going to go, oh, I'll look after you for a bit, hun. I went into complete meltdown, and I went, okay, what are you going to do? Like you actually have to get your shit together because you're a mother and have children and a house. Like you have to work this out. And I thought, well, what are my skills? What are my strengths? What could I do? And I thought, well, I haven't gone to uni. So, I haven't got that ticket that can get me that high paid job that I needed to survive. And I'm like, okay, you're really good at retail. You've done it since you were like, your very first job. You were managing regional manager by 20, this is your passion. I also love op shopping, and I love the fact recycled shopping, and I really, think that we all need to become so much better. We're such a wasteful community. I thought so that, that would be awesome. And I thought maybe I could get a vintage boutique designer shop and get, and I also wanted to do something to give back to the community, because my biggest issue with myself over the years is I don't feel like I'm doing enough to make a difference. And I know that I've got something in me that can, it was like I wanted to be able just to give back, do something, and I was, maybe I should have went and done this or done that. And it's like, and my daughter said, no, Mum, you do it, with what you do. So I'm like, okay. And I had these 2 beautiful young girls, and it was during COVID. We're in the garage having this meeting, and they were amazing. They were like 18 and 19. And oh my God, they're intelligent and intellect and value that they added to this meeting. It was the best business meeting I had ever had in all my years, with all the high CEOs, everything. It was like amazing. And originally I was going to get those guys to go out because they're so, one was like they had different fashion sense. And I thought they'll go and get all the cool stuff and we'll buy it from op shops and this and that. And then we had to come up with the charity, and to all 3 of us, domestic violence was very close to our homes. And unfortunately, domestic violence, hits 1 in 5 women and 1 in 10 men. So that was a no-brainer. My charity was definitely going to be domestic violence. And I love tigers. So I thought, the white tiger is a bit more feminine. And to me, it represents courage, integrity, and strength. And also, the tiger world, all the women and the children stick together and join together to rise up to protect one another. And that's how, in my heart, I see our community. Like I want women and men to realise that we have this support, and if we all stick together, we don't have to
put up with that we don't have to put up with any danger. We don't have to put up with whatever is hurting us anymore, because there's support. There's some fantastic, from years ago, there is so much more available, but I want people to talk about it. The deaths from domestic violence don't get onto the news, but when you go to one of the vigils and there's a pair of shoes for every child and every mother, and everyone lost from domestic violence, it breaks your heart, and it's just not, talked about enough. Like, yes, we've got the support, but I wanted to be able to create a space where I could help a charity and, know that people can come to find their way if they need help. So originally I was going to do the boutique vintage, and I put a little ad out on our Prudence Springs local page, and the response I got was overwhelming. And because everyone was in lockdown, they were all having clean outs of their wardrobe. During COVID, and met some amazing people that shared the most heartfelt stories with me. And I was like, yeah, I'm on the right path here. Like, this is, but the bags and bags of clothes I got was everything. And I'm going, okay, universe, what are you saying? Okay, I've got to open a proper op shop. Like, it can still have my vintage boutique section, but I've got to have something for everyone. So from that, my lovely white tigress and co was born, and with the support of my beautiful family and a young girl called Portia, we created this beautiful space in Coolum, and I wanted it to be different. I wanted it to be a place where people can actually come and shop and feel not only welcomed, but in a space where they can shop and work through, like, just have a break from their moment and any stress that they're having in their life. And it's become a healing space, and it's beautiful, and people comment on our energy all the time. And the best story, before that, finding a charity, like, I thought, oh yeah, this is great. I rang, it was devastating. I rang like every DV charity on the coast, and they go, oh, no, just donate online. I'm like, no, you're not understanding. Like, I want to partner with someone to be able to give to them all the time and do anything that they need for, oh, no. And I was in tears because I had to sign this lease, but I needed, to be partnered with a charity. And I got through to DV Connect, and I was crying, and she thought that something had happened to me. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. But this is my story. And then she was crying. She goes, oh my God, I've got the perfect person for you. And she put me in contact with Sunny Kids. And I spoke to CEO Kath from Sunny Kids, and we had a board meeting. It was all fantastic. We signed the partnership, and I've now got White Tigress, and it is amazing. Love it. And just one quick story, which just was just so giving me that sign that, it was just beautiful, was this lady in her late 70s, an Asian lady in her late 70s, come in. She goes, what's this tiger? This tiger, because there's a big tiger behind my counter. What does this mean? And I explained to her the courage, integrity and strength, the women grouping together, the DV connection, and she just burst into tears. And I'm like, are you okay? She goes, I just left my husband after 60 years of him beating me. I have no family here, but today, I have courage, and I did it, and I lead into your shop. And oh my God. I cried, she cried, we hugged, we had a really good conversation. And she now still comes in and shops, and just to see her feel free and, and watch the growth and the support that she's getting. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. So, little things are just beautiful. And that I think if the world realised that we were all actually just in service to one another, like, what a beautiful place it would be. Like, if we could all have passion and love and acceptance and, be available to somebody in need, whether it's the smile walking down the street or, it's the little things. It doesn't have to be the big major, as you said, like booms. It's sometimes just those little things every day can make such a world of difference, and the world would just be so much happier, like if they could tap into their authentic self, love themselves, and then be in service to somebody else. It's just a beautiful thing. So that's my wish for the world, is that we're all getting better at it, I think. I think we're all coming out there, and we're doing lots more things to better ourselves, and understand this concept. But, taking that time, as you said, that compassion and coming from a space of love, it's a practice. And once we get it naturally flowing, like, it's just, a beautiful place. So, that's my wish for the world in the future. And I'll just, just keep doing my little bit. And I know that, we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, I think that sounds like a good space I always tie a bow on it.
Yes.
It feels, but I think in that story, and thank you so much, Christine, for sharing that, because I think it's really, I think you and I are both using our versions of confidence to try and make the world a better place. I'm doing it through this series, the Confidence Couch, not knowing where it's going to go, who it's going to help. If it's one person that watches this video and takes action or feels better, then it's totally worth this time that we've come together and co-created this space. And I think you're doing it through, if you didn't have the confidence to back yourself to do White Tigress, if you didn't have the confidence to listen to that voice in your head and just keep following, and it's not about the end result, right? It's just about following that little voice. Everybody's got that little voice, and we shut it up and we go, oh no, oh I can't do that. Self-doubt creeps in, but it's not. Everybody's, you start to listen because the voice is there. And when you take action, you will be rewarded with good feelings, and who cares what happens with it? It's just enjoying the journey, right?
Absolutely. Well said, Jules.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's getting that courage to just do it. Like sometimes just do it. Like, I had nothing. It was a dream, and my dream is now reality. And, I did that.
Yeah.
We all do it. Just listen to that voice and, follow your heart.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Stay on the line. I'll just stop
Yes.
recording. Thank you. That was an amazing episode, and I'm sure it's going to be in service of a lot of women. So thank you.
And thank you for what you're doing. I think it's amazing. It's so in line with everything I'm doing, and it's just beautiful, organic. That thank you for having me on your space. It's beautiful.
Oh, it's been amazing. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, beautiful.